new fan of the Indiana Jones franchise, I just watched the first 4 films this year in preparation for Dial of Destiny. So I was super excited to see my first one in theaters. Did it disappoint? Well, let's start with the premise. Daredevil archaeologist Indiana Jones races against time to retrieve a legendary dial that can change the course of history. Accompanied by his goddaughter, he soon finds himself squaring off against Jürgen Voller, a former Nazi who works for NASA. I have to give big props to Harrison Ford for his performance in this film. Not only is he taking big bumps doing a lot of these action sequences, but he really gives it his all. In the comedic bits, the action sequences, and the emotional moments. He is tasked with being an 80-year-old Indiana Jones in this film in the 60s, feeling grumpy, old, and out of place. Living in a world that has no interest in men like him anymore. They have moved on to the new type of explorers and celebrity, and he's being maybe forced into retirement. And that concept and the way that's set up reminds me a lot of the aging veterans who used to feel like heroes and appreciated, but then soon cast to the wayside once society has found something else to cheer for. He's lost so much in the span of time from Crystal Skull up until now, and the movie really deals with the effects of that and how the world's treating him and all that he's lost. Despite that depressing setup, once he gets on the way to his last world traversing journey, he slips right back into the Indiana Jones that we know and love, just a lot older and maybe not as much fun. But Harrison Ford really gives his all during all the action sequences, and it really makes seeing him on screen as an older action star a delight. Speaking of the action, I gotta say that while this is not the best of the franchise, it is done really, really well by director James Mangold, who's taken over from Steven Spielberg, who did the first 4 films, and he does a great job of capturing that gritty feel and that practical feel of the first couple Indiana Jones films, while also putting his own little stamp on it. Indiana Jones is not in as much fist fights as he used to be. Obviously, he's an older character now, so he's not getting to do that. So there's a lot of chase sequences in this one, and him trying to get away instead of being in a direct contact with people, which makes sense because of his age. But they still find ways to make them fun and exciting. The highlight being a villa chase sequence that feels so practical and so gritty and so realistic and not much CGI that it was really, really exciting. Phoebe Waller-Bridge plays Indy's goddaughter Helena, and I thought she was an absolute delight in this film. I thought that she brought a lot of energy to this film in a way that contrasts with how Harrison Ford's Indy was kind of more grumpy and depressing. She reminded me a lot of a younger Indy, but just in a different way. She has this fascination with history and, antiques and relics and things like that, but the way she goes about getting them and the way she uses them is very different from the ideology that Indy has. So this kind of has them butting heads throughout the movie, and their banter and back and forth is done really, really well. It is like a grandpa with his daughter who's doing some things that he doesn't appreciate or going against the way that she was taught, and I really, really like their back and forth. And it's really great seeing like how Indy was in this darker place throughout the beginning of the film, and his life is not as good as he would want it to be, and her energy and how she is slowly was throughout the film bring him out of it, and I thought that was a great use of her character. And the third act, this is the part of the film that will make or break the film in total for you. I see a lot of people who do not like this at all, and some people who do. I land on the latter. I do like the third act. The movie executes it in a really, really interesting way to me personally. I know that the franchise has gone supernatural and sci-fi in the past. Obviously, we've had, the Ark, which was something from God and melting faces, and then we had the Golden Chalice and all these different things that has supernatural or sci-fi elements to it, but they take it to another level here in this third act with the Dial of Destiny and what it does and what it leads to. And I think that with the arc that they set up with Indy in the beginning and the decision he makes once they use this device and the decision he tries to make in this film in the third act will make or break the film for you, depending on how you feel about Indy. But I just thinking about the fact that this character has changed so much because he's so much older and all the different things that's happened to him. The choice to me that he was trying to make makes sense, and the way it's resolved with his goddaughter Helena make complete sense with the story that they were trying to tell here, with her trying trying to drag him out of that darkness. So I really, really enjoyed the third act. I thought it was ambitious, and I thought it was executed mostly well, and I think that it was really great. The movie's not all sunshine and rainbows, though. There is some things about the film that could have been better. I think that the comedy in the film could have been executed really, really well, and it was not. The movie takes itself maybe a bit too serious, and the movie is like 2 hours and 34 minutes, one of the longer Indiana Jones films, and without that lack of fun, I think it can feel kind of daunting, especially if you're used to that goofiness. There's been a goofiness to the Indiana Jones franchise that I've cherished watching the films, and it's not here at like almost at all. There's a little bit here sprinkled here and there with certain scenes, but they don't last that long, and it's not as pertinent as it was in the other films. And they had a great opportunity to do it with a particular character named Teddy, who's basically Helena's short round, and they don't give that character enough time to shine or to do, or just time to be really fun. He could have been a really fun, funny character, and they just don't execute it that well. The actor was fine, the character was fine, but I think it was a missed opportunity to inject some life, fun, and goofiness in this film that takes so many serious things with Indiana Jones. Also, there's some odd story choices. Mads Mikkelsen, who plays the villain here, he does a really good job with what they give him, but there's something that happens early on in the film to him that I felt like he either should have died or at least been maimed to show a scar or something that happens to him that they kind of completely ignore, which was really, really weird and had me question it, like not throughout the whole film, but when he shows up again, I was like, wait, how is this even possible? And then there's also some story choices they've made where they made something feel like it was going to be an important plot point, and it kind of gets pushed by the wayside by the end and forgotten. So the movie's not perfect story-wise. I think that they executed things with the character and the arc they were trying to tell, but they had so many other things going on that makes it a little bit messy because they don't execute everything perfectly. Despite the glaring flaws in the film, I was smiling throughout the film. I was clapping with my audience, who also enjoyed themselves once the credit started to roll and that iconic music started to play. I thought the action was really well done. The filmmaking by James Mangold was well done, and the journey that these characters went on was worth it for me, and it was a fitting ending to Indiana Jones. I think that by the end, the ending that he got in this film just felt right, and I was happy for the character. So with that said, I'm gonna give this movie a B. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? Let me know what your thoughts down below, how you felt about the film, and if you've been on the ropes and you're checking out my review, let me know if you're gonna go check it out based on my review or wait for it on streaming. Drop all those comments down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you notify my reviews, reactions, live discussions, and much, much more. And you can catch more of my content right now.